Mpika is a very small but fascinating town in Zambia. Mpika is to be found in the northern part of Zambia. The beautiful view of the Muchinga escarpment that surrounds Mpika town is a wonder to behold. Mpika town is situated more than 600 kilometers north of the capital city, Lusaka. It is this town that is home to the headquarters of Tanzania-Zambia Railways Authority, TAZARA. The TAZARA Railway is an important vein feeding the heart of Zambia with the needed imports and exports through Dar es Salaam in Tanzania. On the outskirts of Mpika Township is Chivanza village. Here we find a serious but jovial woman, Dorothy Mumbi. Dorothy takes life seriously. Dorothy Mumbi is a cheerful and determined woman. A mother of 8, Dorothy works hard to make sure that her 8 children grow up and live a happy life. Her cheerfulness and personal determination have been a source of strength for her in spite of her HIV status. Dorothy is HIV positive and has been living with the virus for more than 3 years now. Dorothy is one of the many people who are being assisted by the home-based care program initiated by the Catholic Diocese of Mpika.
Shinayandine Dorothy Mumbi, nimyaka yakufyalwa 44.
My name is Dorothy Mumbi. I am 44 years old. I have 8 children and 3 grandchildren. I got married in 1977. My husband died in 1999. Before his death, he suffered a lot. He used to complain of headache, malaria, and coughing. At some point, he had herpes zoster and was admitted to the hospital. He really suffered until he died. When he died, I was 4 months pregnant. Later the child was born and I continued staying in Lusaka. I stayed in Lusaka for about a year after my husband's death. During this period, my parents advised me to come to the village because life in the city was becoming unbearable. That is how I came to Mpika. I came here when my last born child was about 9 months. Then I became seriously ill and was admitted to Mpika Hospital. After a week in hospital, I was discharged. Then my legs became swollen. Some home-based care members visited me and advised me to talk to Sister Maureen, who was in charge of the home-based care. Sister Maureen came to see me. She inquired about how my husband died and asked how I was feeling. She started giving me medication. After some months, she came to inform me about the meeting for the widows and all those taking care of the orphans. So I went to attend the meeting. During this meeting, we were advised to come out in the open and go for voluntary counseling and testing. We were not forced to do so, but it was up to an individual to consider doing the test if their health is not as good or if they had lost a spouse.
So after meeting, following day,
after the meeting, I was very touched when I reflected on my husband's illness and how he died. So I thought it was wise to go for VCT. I explained to them about my current health. I am one person who never used to have problems with health, but of late I have always been sick and have lost weight. Later, Sister Maureen and some caregivers came home to collect a blood sample to be tested at Mpika Hospital. After some days, they came back with the results of the blood test. Sister Maureen asked me if I wanted to know the results. I told them I was ready for any outcome. Sister Maureen counseled me and later revealed that I was HIV positive. I agreed because I had suspected of that. After that, they explained to me how to look after myself to remain healthy. Since that time, they have been giving me medication. The home-based care members have been very supportive. They know all the problems I'm going through and pay regular visits to my home.
What
I can say is that the Diocese of Mpika is really taking care of us. We are given mealie meal every month. We are also given blankets during the cold season, herbs, cooking oil, and other things.
The setting up of Mpika home-based care program answered a huge need for the AIDS patients in the area.
The situation that is obtaining in our country and in our diocese, what is that situation? It is a situation of a sickness that is ravaging the population, that is threatening our people. It is a disease that wears someone down slowly until that person dies. Wearing in the literal sense that, someone becomes weaker and weaker, physically, emotionally, mentally, until they pass away. This is a situation where the church has to come in and make a difference. So the home-based care is that response of the local church here in our diocese to the plight of our people.
In trying to bring relief and comfort to the infected and those needing care, the home-based care program in Mpika Diocese provides foodstuffs, medicine, and above all, palliative care to the AIDS patients.
We have 14 home-based care programs. We have 13 parishes and one sub-parish, which is Nakonde. In these parishes, we have the site coordinators who are running this program. We would like so much to know what is happening in the local sites because we are coordinating at the diocesan level. The diocese at this moment, we are taking care of 1,773 clients who are being assisted by 532 caregivers. In home-based care, these caregivers are volunteers. They don't get paid. We just give whatever we can just to support them in terms of incentives, but really they are volunteers.
The Mpika home-based care carries out its activities in 3 major components: education, orphan support, and through the home-based caregiving program. An unusual feature that is unique to Mpika home-based care is the inclusion of young caregivers. Alongside adults, these committed youths go around communities visiting the sick and bringing comfort to them. The youths also sensitize the people on the dangers of HIV/AIDS.
home-based care by youth.
I am a youth caregiver. We work with elders to fight HIV/AIDS. We also care for the sick and provide medication. This is done with the help of experts. What happens is that after visiting our clients, we go to the clinic and obtain medicine for them.
We took focus of integrating the youths in home care because from our past experiences, we have youths who are clients. We felt the introduction of youth caregivers in the project would assist more. We have the peer educators. We have a program on BCP, which is in the diocese for quite some time. But we have also looked at an area of care because prevention activities at the same time we are carrying them out, but specifically care. That's why you've seen we've trained youths. So far, we have trained 132 youths who are now working in the home care program.
Since its inception, the home-based care in Pika has extended to other parts of the diocese. In Chinsali district, situated about 150 kilometers north of Mpika town, the program started small, but today it has grown big.
From the beginning in 1984, the program started with teaching the people in schools on prevention, women groups, and also in parish activities. The group which was there had to redirect its activities to HIV/AIDS issues. So in home-based care we have got the clinic, which we give screening and other medications to the chronically ill people, but our main target are people living with HIV/AIDS. And in the clinic, we also do VCT, voluntary counseling and testing.
The importance of voluntary counseling and testing, VCT, in the fight against HIV/AIDS is crucial. Through the home-based care program, many people in Chinsali district have realized the value of VCT. Many of those found to be HIV positive have come out in the open and speak freely about their HIV status.
This group is actually for the people living with HIV/AIDS, those who have undergone VCT. It was actually initiated in 1998. That was when it was formed. We have helped a lot in stopping stigma and discrimination in the district. People have seen it from us. Previously, people were not even coming to this center because they feared to be also named that they have HIV and AIDS. And then the group is doing actually a number of activities. We are involved in facilitation in workshops, especially for our fellow people living with HIV and AIDS. We always have workshops, and we even do go for sensitization in villages together with the volunteers and the peers. We go usually on the weekends to sensitize about HIV and AIDS. And then we have a tailor, a specialist who has been hired by the LOM to teach this group how to sew, how to make dresses, how to even make the other clothes.
In working with communities, the Chinsali Home-Based Care Program opened Antonella Transit Home for the orphans. Antonella Transit Home is being supported by the Association of Lay Missionaries, ALM, of Italy. Antonella Transit Home is a refuge for babies whose parents have died.
Under OVC, there is a community school which is giving the facility of 150 orphan children. And then those also under OVC, we have got baby care center, which is here. And then those who are really very vulnerable, they can't be cared for by others or relatives. We keep them at Antonella Transit Home. It is not an orphanage, but a transit home, just to look after the children at that peak period of 1 to 5 years.
In Isoka district, about 350 kilometers north of Mpika town, the home-based care program has expanded. Apart from usual visits to patients, the program now includes an orphan component as well as voluntary counseling and testing, VCT. There is also a youth empowerment program, which aims at offering life-saving skills.
The group you are seeing here is a group of almost graduates. They've undergone an intensive 14 days workshop on improved Imbabula projects. The Imbabulas you are seeing here are quite handy, and at the same time it will help to conserve the forest because they take little charcoal, and it's also an income generation project because they'll be able to sell them off. As youths, it will also reduce on the scourge of AIDS because they will be so busy working on the Imbabulas, they won't have time to go running around.
The AIDS pandemic has continued to ravage our communities. In continuing with Christ's mission of caring and loving the sick, the Catholic Church in Mpika has come up with many interventions as a way of responding to the needs of the time.
AIDS is a disease. It is not a curse from God. It is a disease like malaria, like any other disease. In future, hopefully in the not too distant future, the cure for this disease will be found. But for the time being, there is no cure. And we believe strongly as Christians that God does not wish the punishment of anyone. He's our loving God. So we have to fight that attitude. And then secondly, that ostracization of people who are suffering from that. These are God's children. They are our fellow human beings. And so we as a church are obliged. It is our honor, it is our privilege to respond to the suffering of these people.
Home-based care and all the HIV/AIDS activities that we are doing, we don't regard them as a peripheral to our mission, the evangelizing mission of the church. For us as a diocese, we take them as integral or rather constitute activities of our pastoral ministry. And so we have been trying, and to a good extent we have managed to integrate the activities of the behavior change programs, prevention programs, and home-based care. We have tried to integrate these programs into the mainline, Dawson, and also the parish programs. So what is going on in terms of prevention and care activities are also part of the agenda of the diocese, part of the agenda of each and every parish and each and every Christian and leader in the diocese.
One group alone cannot win the fight against AIDS. The home-based care in Mpika Diocese is working with various organizations in the area.
The diocese is the biggest stakeholder, actually. In fact, it's a key player in the race against HIV in Mpika. We are collaborating very well, and the diocese coordinator sits on DATIF. And every quarter, they actually give us a report. For instance, in the last quarter, they trained over 130 home caregivers. And in the same quarter, 559 clients received the additional support from the diocese. They were given herbs and cooking oil. So they are really doing a very recommendable job.
The coming of the HBC is a relief to most of our patients that are bedridden, because HBC people are more or less like the saviors for these clients.
I wish to thank the home-based care of Mpika Diocese for the help that they are rendering to this institution. They are doing a very good job indeed. And I think that this spirit should continue. There are times when we have got a shortage of food, especially, let's say, relish and meal. And I tell you, those people have been doing a great job. Each time you approach them, they are ready to help you. They have been giving us these commodities.
My friends, fellow women, it is important nowadays to go for voluntary counseling and testing so that we can know our status, especially since we are in these marriages. This disease does not want us to bear children because when we do, our health deteriorates. Therefore, it is important for us to go for voluntary counseling and testing. If you have about 4 children, it is wise for you to look after the 4 than to give birth to an HIV-positive baby, because such a child will only bring more misery to the family. It will be worse if you die and leave the child behind. It is good, therefore, to know our status so that we can take measures to prevent such problems. I am saying this out of experience. My last-born child is HIV positive. If I knew, I could have not gone ahead to have the child. This friend of mine you are seeing here is also HIV positive. I have encouraged her to go for VCT. It is not easy, but we carry on with strength in our hearts.
Recently, the Mpika Home-Based Care Program organized the first ever poster presentation meeting where members from all parts of the diocese gathered to share ideas on how best they could enhance their work. The coadjutor, Archbishop of Lusaka and Apostolic Administrator from Mpika Diocese, Most Reverend Telesphore George Mpundu, graced the occasion.
The poster presentations, it's a time whereby all sides come up and they present what they do. We would want to learn the best practices in HBC. You know, we are still in the fight against AIDS. So there are a lot of issues that should be considered also, even if we are already carrying out, but we might miss 1 or 2 points. That's why they, from time to time, coordinators come up and we have these poster presentations and we are learning.
During the Mass, a beautiful display of the roles and importance of women in the fight against AIDS was a great attraction for all in attendance.
For us as Christians, we know we have to be in the forefront, coming to the rescue of humankind, which is threatened by this very serious epidemic known as HIV/AIDS. Today, 42 million people all over the world are infected. But 3/4, no, 90% are in Africa. And then the rest in sub-Saharan Africa, which means black Africans, you and me. Now, if we the church is to be there in the forefront to fight this disease. The church is to be the good Samaritan that comes to the rescue of those who are suffering, to show them God's love.
The coming of the antiretroviral drugs, ARVs, has brought some hope to the infected. The question of ARVs availability and affordability to the AIDS patients is still a contentious issue, especially for rural people.
The incoming of ARVs in the district have actually boosted our morale. But the problem is that we are failing to acquire those ARVs. You know, we are in the rural area, and you know how these rural setups are. Just to find the 40,000 kwacha